Hey, Dan Cochimillo here with NorCal Sports Network with a video today on Tatsuya Imai, the Japanese star pitcher who is been posted, wants to come compete and beat the LA Dodgers, meaning the San Francisco Giants would be a logical place for him to sign, but the Giants are saying not so fast. They're saying we don't want to spend the money. What are they really saying? Well, we'll get into it right after this. Let us thank our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give them a call for all your legal needs. You got a personal injury situation? Give them a call. Any personal injury situation, they don't win the case, you don't pay a dime. So give them a call. They'll get you top dollar. 415-613-9483. All right, let's get into this, everybody. Andrew Baggerly has put out a article, and we're going to get into that article here. Came out earlier today on Monday, and lots of news going around Giants fans. I'll pull up some quotes from Twitter from some big Giants followers, and we're going to get into this. But Andrew Baggerly is come out and pretty much stated that the Giants are not inclined to spend what it takes to sign Tatsuya Imai. All right, so let's take a look at some of the highlights of this article. The Japanese market has stymied the Giants' every overture while become a pipeline for the LA Dodgers, whose revenue-driving stars were the 25 most valuable player award winners in the National League, Shohei Ohtani, and World Series, Yoshinobu Yamamoto with his amazing World Series. So Tatsuya Imai, the right-handed Cebu Lions ace who might have the highest ceiling of any free agent starting pitcher this offseason, would appear to be a perfect fit. Maybe not to close the chasm between the Giants and their World Series champion arch rivals on their own, but to imbue their fans with the hope that the San Francisco Giants might be starting to establish itself as an international destination. The Imai to San Francisco Coles were already glowing on the rumor circuit before the 27-year-old pitcher, perhaps strategically, brought the Billows to a podcast interview last week and declared his preference to beat the Dodgers rather than join them. Except the Giants are choosing to sit this one out. All right, we're going to get into a little bit more of this. The Giants are looking to go cheap. They signed Willy Adames last year. The year before that, they offered 151 for 6 guaranteed years with the no trade clause to Matt Chapman. And then last year, they got Adames for 7 years, 182 with the no trade. And then they got Rafael Devers in June of last year, and they owe him about 250 for the next 8 years. So the Giants seem to be doing everything necessary to win, except they want to go cheap when it comes to starting pitching. Okay, so the Giants had looked at Imai, Buster Posey, and Zach Meneas and went to visit him in Japan and watch him and scout him. And yet it tells me that I think if Buster had the a hold of the purse strings, if he was in control of the purse strings, I think Buster would be going for it. But it's always the guy that holds the purse strings that is the one you have to convince. And Greg Johnson is not committed to winning like the LA Dodgers ownership group is. All right. The Dodgers ownership group wants to win more than their fans want to win. That's how bad their owners want it. But the Giants are content. They've had 3 World Series championships in 10, 12, and 14, and the fans keep showing up. So why should Greg Johnson keep pouring money in? Because his real investments across McCovey Cove at Mission Rock. And we're going to get a little bit more into this article and talk about the investments that the Giants have. They sold off 10% of the franchise last year. And that 10% is interesting because private equity tends to take a different view. And the Giants sold 10% of the team to Sixth Street Partners in March, While announcing the transaction, the Giants said the organization would use the cash not to get more players, but to fund stadium upgrades and other facilities, including the Mission Rock development, in which the Giants are partners in restaurants and other ventures. It goes on to say private equity investors are walled off from making cash flow decisions, according to comments that Chicago Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts made to The Athletic in January. But the Giants might be concerned that taking substantial operational losses on paper would fail to demonstrate responsible corporate governance so soon after entering their partnership with 6th Street. And that's a particular concern when the revenue-generating picture is far from clear. It's a healthy sign that the Giants have grown attendance from 2.5 million in 23 to 2.647 in 24 and 2.9, nearly 3 million this past season, for a gain of 5,255 fans per game over that three-season span. But club sources say many of those excess tickets were discounted. Of course they were discounted. The Giants were giving away tickets because no one was showing up. It was like $5 days, 501, right? Buy tickets for 501. I bought a ton of tickets last year for $7 and used them as giveaways on NorCal Sports Network here. I was using them as a contest. So the Giants were just having to give away their product because they haven't been that exciting on the field. Okay. So, this article goes on. I'll let you read the rest of it, but apparently it has, something to do with Scott Boras. Buster Posey has not made a deal with Scott Boras since his Chapman deal, since he helped finalize the Matt Chapman deal. I'm wondering if Buster feels like he got, hoodwinked on that deal, signing Matt Chapman to a 6-year deal, when if Chapman would have went on the free agent market before the 25 season, between the 24 and 25 season, I can just about guarantee you no one would have given him more than a 4-year deal. Okay. If we saw all the deals that people were getting last year, Chapman was not going to get no 6-year guaranteed deal on the open market. So Boras somehow convinced Posey that his man was walking and he was going, and Posey chased him and got it done toward the end of the 24 season. And, now the Giants are locked into Chapman and Devers and Adames and Lee, and they don't have any room for one of the most important, probably the most important positions in all of baseball, starting pitching and your bullpen. Okay. And they're not going to go after anybody that's high priced. Okay. So what does that mean? I have said something on this show for the last 3 years. Pick a lane. Pick a lane. The Giants have to pick a lane. And what do I mean by pick a lane? Okay. I was driving today and I was thinking about this. I was in the fast lane and I was in a 65 zone going about 76, 77. And it wasn't crowded at all. But somebody came up from behind me and I was in no hurry, but I was just there in the fast lane. And I saw the guy was pushing me, and it's like, you do the courteous thing. I moved over to the middle lane and I said, you know what? I'll just slow down to 72. I'm just going to go 72. I don't need, and I've got a hybrid vehicle, right? And so the thing was, when I went down to 72, coasted 0.0 RPM. So I wasn't even using any gas at that point. I was just cruising on the battery, right? And I'm in the middle lane. And I'm like, I could get over in the slow lane if I wanted to and go 65, but I kind of like the middle lane. And I got to thinking about this. And I was thinking, this is what I've been saying for years. This is where the Giants live. 500 baseball right down the middle, just average, going, you're not bothering anybody. I'm in the middle lane. Hey, look, someone wants to go past me, go in the left lane. It's a 3-lane highway. Go in that lane. You want to slow down, get over in the slow lane. Giants, they don't want to get in the slow lane. They don't want to be a 70 and 92 game. season. They don't want to, 65 and 97. And they don't want to get in the fast lane and win 98 games, right? Go 98 and 64, or at least even 90, right? I mean, come on, the Giants haven't won 90 games. When's the last time the Giants won 90 games? Well, 2021. Before that, it was 2016, okay? Besides 2021, the Giants, since 2017, that's the only winning season, 2021. It's either been 500 or below. So they're just cruising right down that middle lane, and they're fine with that. They're fine with that. Why are they fine with that? Because the fans keep showing up to the ballpark. At least when the A's were in Oakland, they boycotted, and they, that fifth inning, the chant, sell the team, sell the team, sell the team. Would Giants fans ever do that? I'll tell you what, if Giants fans ever got it, some kahunas and showed up and started in unison saying, sell the team. Look, you are the San Francisco Giants. You're the fifth largest revenue producing market in baseball. You've had the most wins in all of baseball in the regular season. That's over the New York Yankees, by the way, and the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers just got their 8th World Series championship this past October, right? And that tied the San Francisco Giants, New York Giants franchise with 8 World Series victories. The Giants are right up there, but they like to just cruise in the middle lane. Why? Because you got a guy by the name of Greg Johnson that doesn't give a crap about winning a World Series championship. He already got his 3 World Series championships. You can ride on that and just act like you're interested in trying to win, and the fans will keep showing up. Sure, the Giants have some exciting players, Devers and Ramos and Adames, and Chapman to an extent is exciting to watch in the field and occasionally at the plate. And the Giants have Bryce Eldridge coming up, but pitching is what wins you championships. So I'm going to hold complete reservation, my true final thoughts, and see what the Giants actually do in this offseason. It looks like Matt Scherzer's coming, maybe a trade, something like a Freddie Peralta, who's only making $8 million this year, or maybe they get the kid, Ponce from Korea, and they call it a day. Maybe they go spend some money on Zach Gallen. Maybe Zach Gallen gets 18 to 20 million for 3 years, and you give him 55 to 60 million. But they're not going to go into the 100 million mark, over that 9-figure mark. I mean, Johnson said so as much. So my question is, why do you get the fans all excited and go after and sign a Tony Vitello? Why don't you just keep Bob Melvin? If things are going to just be cruising right down that middle lane and just being, hey, we're comfortable being 81 and 81, maybe we'll get to 83 and 79, and we'll tell everybody next year's the year because we were only a game or 2 away. This is what small market teams do, right? And the Giants are more concerned about the bottom line than they are about winning championships. Do they not realize that the Dodgers are making money because people are excited and people are buying not only tickets to the game, but they're buying their merchandise. They come to the stadium 50,000 plus a night. They buy their merchandise. They buy the concessions, the food, everything gets toward revenue. And look at, what an exciting atmosphere it is down at Petco Park in San Diego. The Giants had that when they were winning World Series championships. And then it's like, okay, we got enough. Now the San Francisco Giants, I've never drank. I've never been a drinker, but I've known buddies of mine that have struggled with alcohol. And there's a saying in I guess it's Alcoholics Anonymous, the big blue book or something, whatever they call it, big book. Okay. Big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. There's a saying called half measures availed us nothing. What does that mean? The broader application is the principle can be applied to any difficult problem where a full commitment is required, whether it's a personal challenge, a spiritual quest, or a professional task. The Giants go at it half-ass or half-measured, okay? That's who they are. They do not want to go and pick a lane and get in that fast lane and compete with the Dodgers. You go out and sign a Tatsuya Imai, make a trade for a Freddie Peralta, and you've all of a sudden got a rotation of Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Tatsuya Imai, Freddie Peralta, maybe Max Scherzer as the fifth guy, or Landon Roop at the fifth guy and Max Scherzer as the backup to the, when somebody goes down, adding depth. No, the Giants just don't operate that way. They're thinking cheap, cheap, cheap. So, why spend the money? Let me pull up another comment here from X that what I thought was really good. And this is from Matthew Nauer. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that wrong. Matthew, I apologize. I believe it's Matthew Nauer is what it looks like to me. He says, what's the point of trading for Rafael Devers if you're not going to spend the necessary money to surround him with talent? The tolerance of mediocrity in this organization is flat out embarrassing. Okay. And I just told you about the thing there. And then Matthew earlier today says, you've already invested in the team, Devers, Adames, Chapman, Lee. Your window is to win now. You have a clear need for starting pitching. The best available starting pitcher says he wants to beat the Dodgers. You have money to spend, and you decide to be cheap. Embarrassing. Exactly, Matthew. Couldn't have said it any better. Appreciate those comments. Guys, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing as a San Francisco Giants fan as they continue to stroll down the middle lane, refusing to either rebuild and get in the slow lane and rebuild and sell off some of these guys like Chapman and not signing guys like Adames and Lee and going after young talent. Look at what the A's are doing up in Sacramento. They made a huge trade by trading Mason Miller, and they got Leo DeVries, the number one prospect in baseball, and he's going to be super exciting to go along with Jacob Williams and Nick Kurtz and some of the other exciting players that the A's have. And then they've got pitching coming up. Look, if the A's were here in Oakland instead of San Francisco, the A's are the team of the future, okay? But they're going to be in Sacramento, and when they get to Las Vegas, they're going to be hitting their stride, and they're doing it the right way. The Giants, you got a team that is built to win right now in the terms of what you have on the offense. Yeah, you still need more hitting. You need a couple of productive hitters. And I've mentioned guys like Brandon Donovan and Nico Horner and Bo Bichette, guys like that make some contact and that can hit, get on base. But you have got a payroll of Rafi Devers and Matt Chapman and Jung Hoo Lee, and who's the third one I've mentioned? Adames, Willy Adames, fourth one. Yeah, Willy Adames. You've got four guys of your 9 position players that are taking up the majority of your payroll. And so what are you doing? How are you built? The structure. And then you bring in Tony Vitello, who's got everybody, including myself, super excited. And it's got the players excited. I've talked to some of the players. They're super excited. And then you're going to try and, it's half measures again. You're not going to go for it all. You're going to try to win, but you're going to try to win with talent that is less than the best. And what's out there that's the best talent. So we'll see. Now, if the Giants turn around and Buster Posey makes a couple of big trades for a Joe Ryan and a Freddie Peralta, and they don't want to have these long-term contracts where they're on the books, but Joe Ryan for 2 years and Freddie Peralta for 1, and you're ready to win now, and you do something like that, yeah, then I'm all for not going after Tatsuya Imai because you're going to get pitching. You need 2 starting pitchers. So if you add in trade, you go for Ryan and you trade for Peralta. I'm just using an example of a couple guys that would fit. Or you go out and make a huge trade for a Tariq Skubal, and it's 1 year and you're going for it in 2026, and you say, hey, we're going to go for it. Then, hey, look, I'll eat my words here. But I think I'm probably going to be right again on this, that the Giants are going to take a cheap road toward trying to win. And they're just going to be right in the middle again. And the Giants are going to finish between 80 and 85 wins in 2026. unless this roster gets very built up with some pitching. All right, that's my thoughts. You know, it's frustrating as a fan, and it's why I gave my season tickets away, guys. I had beautiful season tickets, section 223, row L, second to the back row, right on the club level. And I was on the aisle. Nobody walked in front of me and impeded my view. I had a clear view of home plate. I can watch. I was second to the back row of the concessions, Tony's Pizza. When that door opened, I could smell Tony's Pizza. I was literally a 20-second jog to the restroom. Between innings, I could use the restroom and get back and not miss a pitch. And that was when they didn't have anybody who even cared to see him hit. They still don't have anybody except Devers, right? Maybe if Eldridge is on the team, you're going to want to miss. You're not going to want to miss his at bats. But come on, Giants! You want to fill the stadium with, you got one of the most loyal fan bases in all of baseball. They keep showing up. I wish fans would boycott this team. If they don't do anything and they just go along the margins of pitching, I wish fans would just stop and have a boycott day. And man, have somebody like Joe Lacob of the Golden State Warriors, who loves to win, buy this team, because Greg Johnson and the rest of the crew running this team, they're not serious about winning. Don't tell us you want to win. The Dodgers want to win, and they've won 2 World Series championships, and you don't even care. You don't even care about it. So anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. Comment below. Tell me what you think of this. This video went a lot longer than I planned. It's over 22 minutes, but appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Again, we were talking about Tatsuya Imai. Doesn't look like he's going to be a Giant. So comment below. Tell me what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit that like button if you would. It goes out to many more people. Again, comment below, tell us what you think, and we will try to respond to as many as possible. Appreciate you watching this video, and we will catch you on the next one. Take care, everybody.